welcome to Inbound After Hours, a laid-back podcast for inbound marketers by Digital22. I'm Paul, Content Manager, with Andrew, our Head of Inbound. I'm David,
Hello.
the video guy, behind the mic. Today we're talking about tips for Inbound 18, how to get the most from it, how to use the knowledge once you're there, and how to have a good time as well, really. Breaking the format that we've done for the past couple of weeks. Andrew hasn't done his game.
Yeah, I've not done the game, so we thought...
And Ricky and Mark are in a meeting, so it's just myself and Andrew.
We've had to step in, haven't we? Yeah. No, I think we wanted to do this one because we've been going a few years now and done alright, but there's always things that you do wrong or you wish in hindsight, I missed out on that this time. So we've been, I think I've been 4 times, you've been a couple.
Once.
Oh, was it the first time, last time? Oh, right, okay. But yeah, as a group, we've been a few times.
It felt
now.
that long when we were there.
Yeah, So that's we need to talk about that. But yeah, we just wanted to have a chat about what we've learned, what we think's good opportunities there, what not to bother doing, things like that. And hopefully, if anyone's watching this that's going to go or thinking about going even next year, you can use this as a bit of a guide and hopefully get some value from it.
We've got people coming with us as well this year who we're taking a bigger team than we ever have. And there's
got some inbound news.
3 or 4 people coming for the first time. Normally we'd look at what we've been up to and chat about that, but what we've been up to is getting ready for inbound. So
yeah, pretty much
2 things at the start really. You got talks, which I guess we'll come to in a minute, but something else I've just thought of is there's prep for, we're at the office for a week, we've had to let clients know, you've had to let the team internally know.
Big mistake, yeah. I mean, we've made the silly mistake in the past of trying to do both, trying to go to Boston for a week and learn and enjoy yourself and then keep up with the pace of working full-time in an office, and obviously the two don't go together, and we've made the decision this year to not do that. And
last year we tried it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was I mean, we've been growing that quickly, we thought, we can crack on, we can get back to people on email, mainly internal, keep the team updated, and we found it just wasn't productive for us. We ended up staying up to all hours, and we didn't get the most out of the actual conference. So we've just worked up front, got everything done, let everyone know where we're going to be, and no issues at all. So
I found when we've been telling clients, they get it. They know we're not
Absolutely.
going. It's a conference it's
for their benefit as well.
Yeah,
exactly. We're going to find out all the cool stuff that's happening with HubSpot.
That's to our face anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. All the new stuff happening in inbound, and it's going to give us more time to bring stuff back. So
that's the prep of getting stuff in order before you go.
Yeah.
So let's start with choosing talks. I remember you gave me some tips last year, and Ricky did as well for the first time I went. And a good tip I think was be careful choosing everything related to your job role. That if you're an expert in, say, my background's content, so out of the areas, I'd class that as my expertise.
Yeah.
So if I need to be careful with the content talks I choose, because a lot of them will be like entry level, aimed at someone who doesn't do content but is getting into it.
It's quite hard to know as well before you actually turn up to the talk. When you look at the inbound agenda, you've got like a strap line, a very American one, and then a little paragraph, and you forget how much you know in your day to day. And there's thousands of people, some are just getting off, some with inbound marketing, some don't even have HubSpot, and even for like a day-to-day marketer who is doing content marketing, you probably go to us and think, I didn't know that little bit, but I knew 90% of it. So we did that. I think the first time I went to marketing, how to use HubSpot, how to set up workflows, and I got some value from it, absolutely. But then we've come back and thinking, I should have probably gone to that SEO one because I don't do... That's not my full-time role.
My fear with that is, though, I go into an SEO one and it's not one step ahead, which is what I want. It's some mad technical shit that's like, I can't even pass this back to the SEO team because I don't know what they're saying.
It's all, that's the gamble, isn't it? I think we found is go to the things that you'd like to know more on. Maybe that isn't like you have to know it inside out, but it's all about learning and growth, and it's about recognising what you know enough of, and it's really hard to do. And it's that whole thing of what you think you don't know, and there might be something in HubSpot which I'm missing, so I need to go, and then you get them and think, actually I do know it. it's just one of those, and I think we're up against it travelling from the UK, and it's all like loaded with I'm in Boston for a week and everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's something we got onto. I'm jumping ahead a little bit on. You're gonna pick your talks. Like say you pick the stuff you don't really know, and maybe a few of the stuff you know well enough, but you like to know more on. And you get there, and some of them are just awful, and some of them are amazing. And I think I've done that. You've gone to one talk, and it's just not hit the nail on the head.
Who did the awful one?
Disheartened. I can't remember. There's been a few. A lot of them are very good. Some just don't work out. I think HubSpot are getting better and better.
Well, they didn't let us speak, so
well, that's
definitely vetting people.
Yeah, I think they are getting better at that. But you got to think you're going to go and see 15 talks over the few days. 3 or 4 of those aren't going to be great, and just you got to take that on the chin really.
We never did it last year, but I remember seeing people getting 5 minutes in and realising this talk's not for me. And just getting up and walking out
that's
right past the speaker.
Yeah.
It's just brutal. I'd just sit there and do my emails.
Yeah, I think that's I mean that goes on to like what we take with us. Everyone will say travel light. I've got a big heavy Mac which I'll probably take to Boston, but I'm going to see how I get on without taking it to the talks. I took it last year and I just had the inclination to either check my emails, which potentially a good idea, but I'm just typing absolutely everything. I'm going to try. I might try and just go with a notebook and take the key points away. I think in terms of note taking, which is what we've evolved over the few years we've been going, is everyone used to do their own like scatty notes, and then you helped by creating one big document with
became a beast though,
each day set out, and that became pretty big. We're now looking at it to come away with the 3 sort of key takeaways and sharing that with the group that are in Boston, and then that becomes a presentation for people that come back. Might be a little bit different if you're the only one going. You might feel the need to really have some really in-depth stuff, but don't forget a lot of the talks are recorded. A lot of the talks are live streamed, especially the keynotes, and a lot of the talks give out the slide decks, the slide shares, some sort of Dropbox with the checklists and whatever they talk about, at the end of the talk. So don't think you need to type every word they say. You could record it on your phone. If you've got an iPhone, just hit record, take a dictaphone.
I know they usually do share the slides.
Take a phone and take pictures of the slides. Loads of people do that. Don't worry about typing every single word, because you're not going to be listening. You're there to take notes. You're actually there to listen and learn. Saying that, I'll probably be taking tons of notes, but yeah, I guess.
I know you fell foul in the past of taking loads of written notes, but you've then got to do something with them, whether it's type it up or. So I think to get around that this time, that's what you mentioned with the 3 key takeaways and putting that onto a slide.
Yeah.
That we can feed back. So you might have 3 pages of notes out of a talk.
Absolutely,
in a little notepad, but the top 3 takeaways or the 3
headlines, what are the big things that people can actually understand that weren't there.
Because if you come back with a notebook full, you're not going to do anything with that. We found that last year. We had this doc with about 100 pages in. I think, I don't know.
You do have
like 4 talks got the top 4 talks got dealt with, and the rest is just lost in that doc now.
Yeah, and I think you've got to think what's useful to everybody else, what's actually useful to you, and just summarise it and try and do. I'm going to do this at the end of the day, so come 5 o'clock, you're ready for a beer, but just spend half an hour typing it up, getting it out of your mind, getting it down on a slide or a G-doc or whatever. Have a quick chat with somebody and just go, I learnt this today, because they're going to remember that. They tell you what they learnt and then crack on with the beers, but that's what we're going to try, I think. Whilst it's fresh in your mind, because again, getting to the end of the week and trying to sum it up or think it doesn't work. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So back to choosing the talks a bit then. Set some top level tips. So we've asked Emily, who's coming along for the first time. We said, what's your thoughts? What are you wondering before you go to Inbound for the first time? And she said, what do you know more about the tracks that you can choose? How are they? What do they work? Have you ever used those when you've been in the past?
I haven't, and I kind of wanted to this year and I didn't for whatever reason, but they're really good. So a track is just HubSpot's curated list of talks for a specific role or sector. So they do a lot for agency owners, they'll do a lot for salespeople, for marketers, and there's between I'm sure there's over 200 talks over a week. There's absolutely loads. A lot of them are on the same thing, and HubSpot do a great job of just picking the key ones. If you're short on time, go for the tracks and go with what HubSpot are saying. They're usually pretty bang on. If you've got time to dissect it and you know certain speakers that you want to see or from certain companies that you're interested in, fair enough. And that's the way I've done it. It does take a good few hours to get through that. So yeah, that's the tracks. If you're short on time, you want to just quickly get on something that you know is relevant for a salesperson, for example, I'd definitely go via that and use that.
I think if you have got a couple of you going, we've made sure we all sat down, didn't we, and looked at our short list of talks.
Yeah.
And thought, right, I'm thinking of this one. Well, actually, what we did was, right, session 1, day 1.
Yeah, what
if you got, I've got this, right. Well, 3 of us have picked the same one, so let's. Two's going's alright because you've got a different input on it, but 3 is probably a bit of a waste. So
I think the first year I went and did that, and me and Ricky were like sat with each other in all the talks. Like, that were good. It's like, why do
it is a lot of money, like you said, going from the UK. They got the flights, you got a week of hotels.
I mean, we have got somewhere we overlap, and that's fine. But we just make sure if there's more than 2 of us there, or more than in the same day, you're in the same one with everybody, split it up a little bit. And you could both go to a separate one about the same thing, because there's going to be loads of talks on Facebook ads, there'll be loads on inbound in all its ways, so you can still learn the same ways but from different people, and you're going to get a better overview that way.
And then choosing those loads of talks about, I don't know, 10 ninja hacks on Facebook ads or something like that. Lots of actionable stuff, but I think there's a lot of good stuff there. It's like conceptual or ideas about things.
I think we've had the cynical British view of it for a couple of years on. We only want to have the actionable stuff. I want to come away with my tips and my worksheets or whatever. But I think last year we went to a couple which were a bit left to centre and a bit motivational. And I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. What am I doing? I've come all the way to Boston to listen to somebody like pep me up and give me a pat on the back to be a great marketer next year.
We missed John Cena, didn't we, last year?
Yeah.
To go and get the flight from the airport.
Yeah.
Because there was a bit of trouble at the airport. And we thought, well, we won't be missing much. Like, I bet it's entertaining, but what we're going to get. But everyone we spoke to who saw it was like, actually, yeah, he's got a good business brain and stuff, and he was motivating.
Yeah. And for me, it's like the time of year that you go, we're nearly through the year, not far off, we're coming into winter now. It's really helped me every year going, and some of this motivation, you come back and you end the year on a real buzz, and you come back with like full of ideas. You've been churning all year, you're pretty knackered, as you can see. And I've had to sort of step back a little bit from being in this sort of sensible, I'm going and getting my takeaways and that's all I care about, and going and relaxing a little bit and going to the motivational stuff and the growth stuff. There's loads of stuff on personal growth and being a better team member and like personal development stuff. And I've never come across, we don't have that culture in the UK really, any of the talks or we're not like that. Americans are great at all that stuff. And I think it's a good opportunity, especially if you're from the UK, to dip your toe in it and see what it's like, and you get into it.
I saw one last year by I think he was an ex-Navy SEAL or something, and he was really. They are good speakers, these guys, because they must be.
It's what they
otherwise
do.
They wouldn't get able to speak at a marketing conference. So they do make it relatable. They do give you analogies. They do give you principles that apply. So I remember a lot that stuck out because I went partly because it was for self-development as like a manager, and also with the growth we've had, it was about vector alignment, and just the analogy he used. He's coached American football teams, this ex-Navy SEAL sergeant or whatever he was, about how everybody, the analogy he used was storming a room, and they go in and break the door down and all that, and everybody had one little job to do and one little bit to look after, and they do that room by room, and everybody looks at 10% of a room and gets that 10% boxed off. But if 10 people are doing that, you get through the 100% so much quicker.
Yeah.
But he was also a really good speaker, so it was a good 40 minutes as well, and entertaining, and
Yeah.
a bit of a relief from the 10 SEO tips and the 10 Facebook tips either side of it. So
Yeah.
it refreshes you while you're there, not just when you get back.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think it is absolutely knackering. You've got 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day at the minimum, and late nights, loads of events. You're walking in this convention centre, which is huge. You're walking a good 10 kilometres a day easy, and it's pretty tiring. So I think those sort of clarity breaks are really good.
Yeah.
If it's not something that you're thinking, I have to write all these notes down and take it back and create a strategy out of it, but you can just go and listen and it's just for you, that can really give you that nice break and sort of thing there. General tips, like physicality of it, I don't think I've just mentioned walking around, so comfy shoes obviously are a must. I think
I've changed the shoes I'm taking.
Yeah, I think it's temperature wise, it's in the mid-30s at the moment in Boston. So, but then when you get inside the conference centre, it's -2. So, don't know what you do with that. I think I'm just gonna, don't know.
What did you say about American air conditioning?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
David
David loves it, so there you go. Yeah.
The one reason.
But it caught me out. I don't know why I didn't look. I just assumed. I always think the northeast of America. That's just straight across. That'll be the same weather as we've got, and it was freezing here.
Yeah.
So I didn't take a single pair of shorts, and I took about 3 t-shirts and long sleeve shirts. And the walk to the conference centre every morning and every night, I was just dripping.
Wet back.
Yeah, but it's all right. Like you say, it was all right when you were there. 'Cause it's pretty cold, and that convention centre is enormous.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of it shut off last year. I've not been to a conference that big in this country, so I've not seen a conference centre that big. I mean, if you go in for the first time, it's like
It's bigger
Wembley.
than the MEN.
Yeah,
It's bigger.
it's like Wembley with wings coming out. It's a uni campus basically, isn't it? So finding your way around, that's another thing. Caroline asked who's coming for the first time, like, how do you get around? How do you know where you're going? They've nailed it, haven't they, with the app. The app tells you what room it is, what wing it is. There's people stood around, there's helpers.
Got to be on it. By the end of the week, you know what you're doing, but
yeah,
it's pretty fancy.
They do group them together as well. It was very rare
best they can,
when I was.
I've had a couple which are. I mean, that's the thing where we're saying, pick stuff you're not into. If you know, they will. If you went to like an agency talk, then like a social media one, they're probably going to be at other ends of the thing.
Yeah.
So that is one of the benefits of probably picking a track, is that I think they will have thought of that and tried to position them within the same floor or whatever. But yeah, it's...
Room changes is another one. The app's vital for room changes because especially the encore talks, when one's been really popular and it's too big for a room, they'll run it again. And then so many people will sign up for that because you can change your talks and then you might need to change rooms every now and then.
Yeah. So that app is really good. Remembering what you're going to see next, because your mind's frazzled listening to something, you could just quickly check your app and know what room you're at and where it is. Make sure you've pre-booked them, obviously, and yeah, that's invaluable really. And a lot of the events at night are on there as well, so it's just good. I forget what day it is as it is, so it's good for that.
Club Inbound, is that what it's called, that central bit?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what it becomes one night. There's a main area, like your traditional exhibition centre bit, and it's got, I'd say, 20 to 30 stands with integration partners.
People like Co-Schedule are there.
Wistia will have a stand, Buffer, people you won't have ever heard of. A lot of the bigger US agencies will have a stand there. HubSpot have a big area where they'll be demonstrating all the new products. They're there obviously to bring on new customers, but you can go and ask them anything you want. Really good and not to be missed really, to just wander around. There's loads of freebies. And also just speak to people with like integrations, because you never know, like they'll obviously be on the sales pitch, but it's quite interesting. You might think you've got stuff sort of boxed off, but they'll have offers on, be able to get
Is that
discounts.
where we got 23?
Yeah, so our video hosting platform at the moment, 23, we met them there. You meet someone face to face, you'll get stuff sorted quicker, so have a good wander around that.
And is that where Ricky Mark met Luke? Was that through?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Yeah,
it's really good for networking. There's going to be other people like your sales marketers wandering around. It's, you know, also quite handy that they have the bar there. They have like a happy hour one night, or more than one night, a couple of nights. So there's free drinks and stuff hanging around. So they want people to be sort of milling around that place.
I think there's, if you go in either in-house, I remember being, for some reason, because we're an agency, I just assume everyone who uses HubSpot's an agency, but there was a few talks I went in where the speaker asked, hands up who's agency? And a few hands went up. Hands up who's in-house marketers, and the majority of people were in-house. So if you're an in-house marketer, you can share, meet people who are in the same position, indirect competitors, for example, and learn from each other. If you're an agency, you can mix with people.
The best thing
like-minded, or you can do what we do, and you.
The best thing I found is just sitting next to people in the conference centre. You're in America, they like talking. And I found it's great. Like, you meet loads of random people.
I remember meeting with James last year, wandering around.
You just get chatting to people.
You do just get chatting to people.
It's really good for that, networking in the talks, especially when it's about something pretty exciting. You can just chat with the person next to you about where they're from, and you meet loads of good people that way. And a lot of the talks will have a mic, and towards the end they'll have 10-15 minutes for questions. The Americans love getting up and asking them. I don't think any British people have yet. Us have been there, at least I haven't. And there's some great questions get asked, and some really knowledgeable people in the crowd. So you sort of pick things up from what they're doing, which is great.
So the important stuff now. So we've talked about what talks to choose, how to get the most from it, but let's talk about what matters. Food, that inbound.
Yeah.
Obviously you get lunch provided.
It's good food, good food trucks, make sure you go. I think you don't get long, but there's a good selection. I think, I can't remember what we had last time. There's fish and chips was a bit weird. Yeah, but yeah.
They've got a big outdoor food court, basically. Loads of trucks around. You get your pass and you get a free bit from every from a food truck every day.
Yeah.
I think you're there all day, and you only get a talk's worth of a break for dinner, so like 45 minutes. Quick. So I think breakfast before you start, get a brew down here and get fueled up.
There's loads of coffee around, coffee and drinks. But yeah, definitely make the most of that. But yeah, food's decent.
Sorry to sound like your mum.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got important big breakfast inside you.
Yeah.
So then, coming back, how do we get that knowledge out? How do you've got your notes, you've decided on your notes, you've got this good bit of knowledge, but it's all up here. How are we planning on spreading that out into the team and into action?
I think what we mentioned before is just keep it simple. Pick the couple of takeaways from each talk. Any links, free resources, make sure you get hold of those and grab those. The way we typically do it is, as we've mentioned with the notes and sharing at the end of each day, we'll be putting onto the internal Slack channel like the key takeaways, so everyone's like kept in the loop. And then, as boring as it is, we'll be doing a presentation when we get back, but we're going to try and keep it interesting. Again, core takeaways, things for specific people. If you are the one person being sent and you know you've got a sales team, you've got a social media team or a social media person, or you've got a business owner who's waiting for something for them, if you're not going to talks that are intended for them, where you can give them a whole talk's worth of tips, just make sure you pick up a couple of things. Even if it's some of the integration partners that you think could help them in their job, that they can go away and research, bring something back of value for those guys. And I think what we're going to try and do, which is jumping ahead a little bit, is try and obviously use social media. If you're not the social media person, get some logins, so whilst you're there you can do a bit of live tweeting, maybe the odd video. If you're confident enough to get in front of the camera, at the end of the day do a quick summary and pop that out. You're going to be helping your mate back in the office who's the social media person get some great content out there, and you're going to be doing your summaries live. And I think that's something we're going to be definitely doing on social. So I think if you're the one going and you feel like a bit guilty almost that you're being sent off to Boston or whatever. I think just keep them during the week updated. Send over the bits and tidbits as you work along. Pick up loads of freebies and take those back. Keep them happy.
We're going to mention what content we'll get out of it at the end. That's how we want we'll mention it at the end. But I think sharing that knowledge straight away to the team who's back in your office is a good way of absorbing it.
Yeah.
I think something you said earlier that was key for me last year, and worth mentioning again, was not trying to remember it all and save it all for when you get back, or not trying to note down every little thing, because it's too much, you can't, and then you end up trying to do too much. And
you've been out of the office for a week,
really.
You're going to be on catch up anyway, you're going to have calls, you're going to be doing other stuff, and it'll just get buried. So I think try and get it out there in the week or on the plane back or at the airport back, and just try and box it off. Obviously talk through it with people when you get back, but don't try to start typing stuff up when you get home, because you're not going to do it.
I won't put you on the spot too much.
So you're going to put me on the spot?
I'm not going to do a mark. I've opened my sheet and I'm just looking what kind of talks you're looking forward to. I'm not going to say you're most forward, what you're most looking forward to, but what theme have you gone for this year? What you're trying to get out of your talks that you've picked?
I think with my role now, I'm going on the more team building, management side of things, a bit more personal, which I'm talking about. I'm going to take stuff back, and obviously I'm going to some of the bigger like inbound strategy stuff. Because it's a bit of a no-brainer, but I'm trying to pick out a couple of bits for me, but like leadership stuff.
There's quite a few leadership ones in there.
Yeah, a lot of personal development stuff, which I'm going to go to. I'm definitely going to go to some of the HubSpot talks, a lot at Partner Day, which we go to on the Monday. They're going to talk us through the new tools, what's changing in HubSpot, so I'm going to obviously be absolutely on that, so making sure that that's going to be something we're focused on bringing back to the team, and so I can train those guys. But I think personal development stuff and HubSpot talks for the new tools, I think, because they have got so many new things with conversations in the Service Hub. I think if I can come back at the end of the week with my head around that, with some ideas how we implement it, I'll have succeeded. So that's what I'm going for. Yeah. What about you?
Similar, I think. Tried to put some team or leadership stuff in there, or team growth, and then instead of the HubSpot things, because I know you and Ricky have got a lot of those boxed off, I've tried to look at storytelling and video as my other 50%, to try and bring that back and spread that into the team, really.
Cool.
There's some great titles as well, some that I've picked just on the title alone.
Yeah, you got to do that.
And then, well, the other bit, the last thing to think about when you're there is any downtime. No, we didn't get any last year, did we?
Yeah,
I keep hinting at, but
I've been trying to think of, like, this. Obviously, you're in Boston, you can do a million things.
There's no sport this year, which is a shame for us.
It's a shame, but there's so much you can do just following the HubSpot stuff. Obviously, they're there they know people are there for the week, and a lot of them don't come from Boston, but there's like night parties on for people that have attended inbound. There's loads of... What
is the Seaport? You see it, they talk about it in the emails. I didn't go last year.
The Seaport parties?
Yeah, Seaport parties.
It's basically, there's where the convention centre is, you can walk straight down to the harbour, and there's like a bit of a strip of bars, really, like pubs, and HubSpot hire all of those out.
Right.
I can't remember whether it's a free bar. I feel like it might be, which sounds HubSpotty, but it's... I remember you had to have your pass to get in it, so it makes sense that it is. And I think there's like 4 or 5 bar, pub sort of style places, and all the sort of delegates go on one of the nights.
That'd be good for networking.
Depends what you're up for, yeah. It's pubs full of Americans, so you're up for that, go for it. I think depends how tired you are at that point, but there's that. There's loads of like software people put on parties. All the people that got the stands will be putting on parties and giving you invites when you go and see them to go on like 2 days later. Again, it's all networking stuff. So hesitantly, if you've never been before, I'd just start with that and see how you get on, because you can bite off more than you can chew.
If it's too busy, or if it's too networky, or...
There's always another restaurant to go to, or a bar. There's loads of great sports bars.
It's a good city, isn't it?
Yeah, if there's no sport on in Boston, there's obviously sport on.
I think we're still going to go to Fenway. I think there's a couple of people in our group who still want to go to Fenway, even though there's no game on, the baseball ground. Harvard's not far away. If that's your thing.
Yeah,
I'm tempted
I mean
to go
Boston,
there.
like the old towny bit, is really nice. We went there once. There's tons to go and see. I think, again, unfortunately, it's not for us anyway. With partner day, if you get there on a Monday and you're not a partner, you've got that day, which we did have once. That was really good, just for a bit of sightseeing. But if you're lucky enough to be able to tag on a weekend or something, go for it. But from our side, we're just sort of in and out. You've got enough on with the inbound stuff and the stuff at night, so you're not going to be short of stuff to do.
No. So all that's left then is to talk about what we'll be doing next week. Obviously we won't be we record these weekly. We'll be at inbound next week, so we'll be doing daily recaps, keeping David supplied with clips filmed straight out of the event, key takeaways. Those will be getting turned into blogs. We'll be doing a roundup podcast, I
You'll see
imagine.
us progressively get more tired each day on video. I think if we do a roundup, the last one will be interesting. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of video, plenty of blogs and recaps.
We've got the product launches. So 5th of September, when the event opens, HubSpot's going to be announcing a whole load of product launches, which we'll be sharing on our blog and on our social. They've given us, the ins and outs of what they are, so we're excited to share those when we can on the 5th.
Definitely.
And then it'd normally be time for a game now, but with the two of us, we've bypassed that, so we'll go back, make sure we've got everything set for inbound. And
Yeah.
if you want to keep up to date, we'll be sharing everything in the Facebook group, Inbound After Hours. If you want to join that, head up to Facebook, search Inbound After Hours, or check one of our email lists, the bottom of one of those, and we'll see you when we get back.
Yeah.
Let's have a good one.
Cool. See you later, guys.